The Effects palette is another important palette to have open. To find it, go to Window, down to Effects, and that'll open up the palette. So right now I've got a picture frame created. Remember, whenever you create any type of frame, there's three things involved. First of all, there's the stroke outline that you have around it. In this case, it's a rather thick purple outline. There's the fill color. Right now my fill color is set to none, so let's give it something that we can actually see. I'll make it green, so it'll contrast. And the final thing is the content. In this case, it's a picture, or it could be type. All of this makes up the object that we're working with, the stroke, the fill, and the content. With the object selected, check out my fill or my effects palette. I can change up the blending mode that we're working with, and we'll play around with that later, and also the opacity of the entire object. So if I brought it down to 44% or so, notice that everything inside of it, the opacity is now dropped to 44%. Let's bring it back up to 100%. If I open up the object by clicking on the little down arrow, I can adjust the specifics of things inside of it. So for instance, if I wanted my stroke, the purple outline, to be less than 100% opaque, I can choose stroke and then drop the opacity of only the outline. Additionally, if I wanted to drop the opacity of the fill color, I can choose fill and drop the opacity of it. Nothing else is affected because I only have that selected by itself. The final thing, if I wanted to affect the content, say drop the opacity of just the picture, click on the little circle icon. This will take us into the graphic mode, and from here I can start to change up the opacity of the graphic or even change up the blending mode of it as well. So it's pretty cool to work within the effects palette. You just got to remember what you have selected when you're working with it. The final thing to know about working in the effects palette is you can quickly choose some of your special effects down here at the very bottom. Clicking on it will give you a pop-out menu, and from here you can choose the type of special effect that you want to work with. Also notice in the special effects you can change your settings for the object, the stroke, or the fill, or whatever content that you have selected as well.